Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. Well, the big news is that I was on Joe Rogan's show back on 27 November. It's the Joe Rogan Experience Podcast 2069 on Spotify if you haven't seen it yet. Guess what? It looks like beef and dairy products have healthy phytochemicals just like what is claimed to help in plant-based foods. Well, at least grass-fed beef certainly does. This was published in the Frontiers in Sustainable Food Systems in February of 2021. I must be doing something right because yet another vegan activist has accused me of trying to discredit alternative proteins and promote meat and dairy. Well, yes, that's exactly what I do. The person complaining about it appears to be yet another angry vegan, one called Claire Hamlet, which I think is a great name for her, by the way. But if we dig a bit deeper, it's obvious that there is a bigger and more insidious agenda at work here. An environmental activist group called Planet Tracker has partnered with another activist group called Changing Markets to release a report that blames the banks that finance the meat industry for global warming. And then another group, which calls itself Ethical Marketing News, ranks the ethics of marketing as it relates to the green activist agenda. Now, they published a report last year claiming that a lack of climate action could lead to stranded assets in the meat and dairy industry. This was clearly an attempt to instill fear and insecurity in the banking industry that supports the meat and dairy industry to cut off banking and financing of these vital foods. We must be on alert for these types of underhanded manipulation of data that is being used to rob us of our freedom to choose our own food. These groups want us eating basically grass and bugs. The truth is, we already have a super efficient way of turning grass into protein, don't we? I'm doing a lot of conferences and interviews recently, including speaking at Low Carb Denver, in case you missed it. I've also gotten back to working towards setting new world records on the rowing sprints. Some of you may have seen my recent so-called debate with Nick Hebert, who calls himself the Nutrivore.
And I advocate for displacing the wild world into non-existence.
So go. I'm sorry. Can you expand upon that? What does that mean? You advocate for getting rid of the natural world, and we live in a.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. The natural world is filled with death and destruction, things I find morally problematic. So why wouldn't I?
What would you replace that with?
Human infrastructure.
Human infrastructure, and and you're saying we would do a better job as humans.
Yeah, I would even go so far as I think the end goal should be to ditch this ball because it's a liability in and of itself.
Joe Rogan found it pretty entertaining too.
Like I said, we talked about that debate with the wacko vegan.
Oh my God, that was my favorite one you've ever done. So I don't know when this took place, but I just discovered
it was recently. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Joe also points out how illogical this Nutrivore is.
It was funny. I mean, it was hilarious. But
well, he's in a cult. You know, whether he realizes it or not, he's in a cult, and this cult is not. It's not based on any objective assessment of the reality of biological life on Earth. It's just not. It's like to say that you think all animal life should die. Are you including insects? Because if you include insects, then you're including bees. Then there's no pollination.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you saying?
Well, I mean, our species, if there are no animals, we would all be dead too. I mean, everything would be gone. So it's like, it's almost like, well, you don't really seem like you fit too well on this planet, dude.
Well, the fight for your right to eat meat never ends. The United Nations most recently hosted a conference pushing an anti-meat and anti-hunting meatless agenda to ostensibly fight climate change. As a note, you may not be a hunter yourself, but if you eat meat, you should also support the right to hunt, as the two are increasingly being lumped together as would-be environmental evils. Of course, one of the most exciting things that I have going on is that the company I co-founded, Revero, is launching very soon. We have thousands of people, I think nearly 6,000 people right now on our waiting list. Revero offers personalized care for metabolic and autoimmune conditions using root cause approach to treating diseases. Patients get data-driven medical care personalized to their needs, a dedicated health coach, medical supervision, and more. Check it out at Revero.com. I'll leave a link in the description below. At Revero, we're going to put the health back into healthcare. Okay, that's the way it is. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.